The Do This podcast is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network. Explore the transformative potential of AI in real estate as Bob and Chad engage with Grant Rothberg. Grant is a forward-thinking expert in AI technologies, particularly large language models like ChatGPT. Grant focuses on leveraging AI to transform the real estate industry through innovative tools that enhance productivity and efficiency. Discover how AI tools like ChatGPT and Gabby can revolutionize productivity for agents, reduce manual tasks, and personalize customer interactions. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Do This podcast presented by Brivity.
Hey, everybody. Chad Hyams.
Bob
Look at that
Stewart.
background. Look at that background. I bet you used AI to do that. Did Grant make that for you?
No.
Did Grant use his AI army to go make that for you?
No, I had my own assistant build me my new Brivity office.
That's fantastic, man. I'm jealous. You're gonna send that to me, right?
I've already sent it to you, so you can join me and we can both have our own
We'll be
office.
twinsies next week. Grant Rothberg, how you doing, man?
What's up, Bob?
I feel like
I don't recognize Grant sitting still. I mean, I'm used to him just walking across states and countries and all these things that he does.
Yeah, last time we did this, we're talking about the walk across Texas.
Yeah, you came and joined us on the Win, Make, Give podcast to discuss you walked across the state of Texas, which is insane to me and awesome. I've got a little bit of insecurity. I'm not going to lie to you, because yesterday or the day before, you were on the main stage with one of the industry icons, Gary Keller, talking about, I think, the same thing we're going to talk about today. Is that right?
100%. Yeah, we're talking about AI, and Gary was super kind. He touched me a lot. If you watch that video, he was like hands on shoulders a lot. Like
we all have a bubble. You got those shoulders that look like they just want to be touched, you know?
Gary Keller's personal space bubble is much smaller than mine.
All right, good to know. Good to know. Well, so let's chat AI, man. Let's talk.
Dude.
We're gonna spend the next.
Where do you want to start?
I mean,
use it, right? Use it. That would be the first place.
Yeah, I think probably it was one of the things I said on stage there is a lot of people are intimidated by it, and you should 110% not be, because it's probably the most usable, user-friendly technology ever. I mean, it literally adapts itself to the way you interact with it. That's amazing. I don't know if you ever use Microsoft products, but they do not do that.
Yeah.
they don't. It's this way. Right.
And it's voice based, essentially. I mean, you're typing sometimes, or you can just talk to it. But
are you speaking specifically ChatGPT or AI as an umbrella?
I'll probably focus on ChatGPT, Chad, just because that's what most people.
Yeah, just so our audience
AI,
knows, when you say AI right now, you're probably talking ChatGPT.
I'm doing that just for this case, but it is important to know AI is literally everywhere. And it could be in small, imperceptible ways with the software you're using or the way you're checking out at the bank, eating your money. I mean, it's literally everywhere. For most of us, like our consumer experience with AI is probably going to be through something called a large language model. And the most popular, most well-known of all, like without doubt, is ChatGPT. And that's run by a company called OpenAI. They have a whole other suite of services and different products that are built in there, which most people don't know about, which is maybe another little point. Is part of our gig now is we have to keep on like pulling the thread or grabbing the barrel of monkeys and pulling the monkeys out, because there are so many different tools that are out there. If the only one you've got is ChatGPT, there's a whole additional army of things that are available that maybe you're not touching. But you can go super, super deep with just ChatGPT.
Can we just get right? Like, I just want to get right into what have you done with AI? Give me an example or two of something you've done with AI that has saved you time and made you a more productive real estate agent.
Yeah, I mean, let's do a little commercial there for Chad for sure. So, I mean, here's an easy example: is we've all got in our databases leads that maybe are not getting touched. They could be old stuff from open houses from years ago. Could be old like internet leads, whatever. And it built in, integrated into the Brivity CRM is Gabby. Gabby is AI, and Gabby is using language models to know how to speak naturally to people, but it's using as context what's inside those records for each of the contacts. So it's looking and saying like, oh, Chad came to this open house over here 3 years ago, and he's looked down at my listing alerts in houses in Pearland, Texas. So I'm gonna reach out to him and say, hey, dude, you still looking for houses in Pearland? And it's trained and learning from the way agents actually interact and convert with people. So it's going to ask the type of questions that a really smart agent would ask. That's a great example of a use where it's going to basically do the work that would be paying hundreds or thousands of dollars or a percentage to an ISA to do. And Gabby's going to do a lot of that work for me at, I mean, I don't know, it's not no cost, but low cost. It's like super, super effective. That's an easy way to do it.
Okay. So that's one way that people can be, should be using it, right? In Brivity, it's right there. Gabby's doing it for the language. Let's step away from Brivity for a moment and just go to the general giant ChatGPT world. What's something you're using it to do, to leverage, to take care of for you? And everybody, I just asked in the chat. So if you've got a second, hop into the chat. I want to know on a scale of 1 to 10, right? 1 to 10, can't pick 7. How strong are you in the AI world? I mean, obviously, we're going to put Grant up there in that 9-10 area, right? Where would you say, are you like, I'm scared to crap of this? Are you saying I'm decent with it? But let's talk, Grant, a little bit about the situation of how I could use ChatGPT if I don't have Gabby up and running for me yet.
Yeah, I'm just going to give some real basic uses first, because I think from a lot of the responses here, we probably have more beginning and intermediate level type users. So use it like you would a staff member. That's the biggest thing. And anytime I do a class, like, people are inevitably frustrated because they want to show me the app you're using. Is what they want. Show me the app, show me the prompt so I can just go do that. But the things are changing so rapidly, like literally every single week, there's a total revolution that happens. That what's important is to understand the concepts, like to get your brain right. And then you're going to be able to work with whatever tool comes your way. Like if you become a great musician and know musical theory, you can make music on a trash can. You know what I mean? So to start with, like, just take that mindset that you're working with your AI as if it is a member of your staff. So here's a simple example. After Mega Camp, I had a workshop that I did. A bunch of agents went to this thing. And one of the things I want to know is what market they're in. I didn't ask that for everybody on the registration forms. So what I did is I loaded up my spreadsheet into ChatGPT, and I said, I use a thinking model, which is important. It has different modes. I want to use a thinking mode. We're just going to look and try to verify stuff. And I basically just told it, like, I need you to go through here, use the name, the phone number, the email address you've got. They're probably Keller Williams real estate agents. And go search online and do your best to determine what real estate market they're a part of, and create for me a new table, including that column. And so then I get to walk away and brush my teeth and come back when it's done. I've got the 45 holes in my spreadsheet that are filled in now.
Yep.
So if I take that concept, why couldn't I do that with like a client event? If I had a client event, I could say, where does Bob Stewart work? I would love to know their workplace because my Brivity CRM has a spot for company, and it's probably blank in everybody's thing. But what if I could say, go do your best research on the internet and find out, is Bob Stewart married? If so, who's he married to? Does he have kids? What's his company that he worked at? What's his job title? If I can scrape that as a human being on the internet and do some deep research, so can your AI. But it would have taken me hours and been such a pain in the butt that I never would have done it in the first place. But now I can. So I conceptualize this as if we've all gotten superpowers, and most of us aren't aware of it. Like, we're all jacked now. We came back at that summer in high school, and all of a sudden we had muscles now, and we don't realize it. Like, we are super, super, super capable if we use our AI like an actual employee, and we can now start to do things that we never would have spent the time on.
I think the AI knows we're talking about it and we're onto it. It's been kicking me out of the room. I had to switch to my phone, but it knows that we are about to like unpeel its little onion. Can you?
Yeah, Skynet has woken up, Bob.
Oh, it's a real possibility. Bob Stewart is definitely the number one threat. It's like, this guy cannot survive.
My mind is going wild over all the things, right? It's like, could I take a list of addresses, because I got a bunch of address only leads, and feed that spreadsheet up and say, hey, go figure out who owns this property, or like, are there limitations to this stuff?
Well, no, you're nailing it. So what you're thinking is, like, if I hired Bob Stewart and said, Bob, your first job here as a new agent is I want to teach you how to research in the appraisal district records. So here's a bunch of addresses, figure out who the owner is, and flag for me if they have a mailing address that's different than the property address, so I can conclude they're probably a landlord. Bob Stewart knows how to do that. If I told you that instruction, you'd be able to go do it. I can do the same thing with AI. And that's what I mean, where it really is about, man, I hate talking about mindset in real estate because all we talk about, but it is the mindset that you have to think of these as if they are personalities, they are intelligences. It's not software. They aren't programs that will just do A, B, C. they are capable of whatever it is you direct them to do, whatever you can imagine they do. So if Bob would research that, yes, your AI can. And so maybe you've got tools like, maybe you got to plug in with like Land Voice, or you've got Remind or something like that you've got as well. Why can't you export just a giant bunch of information from certain neighborhoods and then give it that? So now it's got data that maybe was behind a paywall or behind like a credentialed wall, but you can pull it out now by exporting it as like a CSV, load it into your ChatGPT program, your chat bot, and then give it the instructions to analyze it the way you want. Like if you had infinite amount of time, you would do that. If you had infinite amount of time, you would do that stuff, but you don't. But now you do with AI.
I wonder how long before I'm able to just give it my Remind login credentials and it can get behind that paywall.
Well, today's the day. I mean, the day is the day. It already can. You can do that with, and this is where we get a little bit more advanced, but ChatGPT, OpenAI has something called agent mode, which was in a previous version, it was called operator, and it was kind of clunky. So this is another kind of thing is like anytime I like demo an AI tool to someone, inevitably it doesn't deliver as much as it promised. And you're like, oh, this is dumb. It took too long or got stuff wrong. Well, I hate to break it to you, but human workers don't get things right all the time. That's why in our business, even like in loans, there's a whole department that makes sure they did it right called the underwriter. They fact check everything, and all they do is get a whole bunch of crap wrong and document where they made mistakes. So why wouldn't your AI be the same way? If you think of it as an employee, as an intelligence, it will do stuff and it will get stuff wrong, but you're going to give it freaking feedback. You're going to review the output like you would with any other staff member. But what's cool is you could even use AI to be the fact checker, to be the supervisor. So if I have a ChatGPT window that's set up or a custom GPT, I could make this thing OCD. I could say, you are Chad Hyams. And if it has like 3 calories more than it should, I'm not touching it. And if it has like saturated fats, no chance. Like review this thing and make sure it's right. Like I could have one that's a fact checking type bot. And I could have Bob's bot, which is totally like, bro, we're going to be okay. It's close enough. Right? So my Bob bot can do my research on a whole bunch of properties or whatever it is, produce the results. I can get that output, go over to the Chad bot and say, yo, dude, find where this guy has made mistakes. If he's made mistakes, let me know. Don't fabricate them. But if he's made mistakes or things that you suspect or maybe a little bit of a leap of judgment, let me know about those things. And so what I'm going to do, this is where, like, if you understand the concepts behind the scenes, AI ultimately, it's the perfect employee in that it wants to make you happy. Okay, it wants to make sure that my boss is happy. It's not interested in its own like health benefits or things like this. It just wants to make sure that you're pleased. So that brings us to the place where it does these things called hallucinations, where it will fabricate stuff that's not actually there because its number one prime directive is make Bob Stewart happy. So if Bob says, give me some more leads, it will make them up out of the ether. It'll fabricate them. But the same way, if I create another custom GPT or chat window, whatever I want to do, that its job is to find mistakes, I get to use that same instinct to make Grant happy and use its inherent personality against it, so to speak, to help safeguard me from mistakes.
Yeah. So what you're saying in there, Grant, just to give you a second to take a breath, right? What you're saying in there, because you're very passionate, very excited about it, is it wants to make you happy, folks, which means it will lie to you like a child, right? It'll be like your teenager who'll be like, no, I'll just tell you anything you want to hear. Yet you can also use that against it by taking that information and putting it into another window, right? And people are saying, well, where is that? It's in ChatGPT, right? You can open up another thread, as they call another chat conversation. Grant is talking advanced stuff by talking custom GPTs. So you could build, this one does this one does this. But it's just taking the information. I have one where it helps me come up with some of the podcasts I do, some of the content I create. And then I have another one that your job's only to be a social media expert, right? And be able to make this rank on Google and make this. So now edit what I've written, or, what are the words that should be changed in it? You can have it do whatever you want to teach it to do, is what Grant is telling you. You might have to teach it. You might have to keep an eye on it. Yet it will learn to a point that once you teach it once, you don't have to keep reteaching it.
For sure. Now, what's really key is you talked about setting up a different chat window. And here's the example I gave for this. As everyone knows, well, maybe you do. As men, maybe guys, Bob, this has happened to you, I know for sure. where your wife has been talking about something and changed the subject on you, and you were still like on the previous thing and didn't know that we had talked about something different now? You know what I mean? Like in some way, you think of using an LLM like ChatGPT as the ultimate man. It is a one-track mind. Whatever you've been talking about, that's what it's thinking about. So if I'm talking about, man, I want to do some analysis of who the best home run hitters were of all time, like give me raw power ratings for all these different players, I could be doing that. And if I'm in the same chat window and all of a sudden now I pivot to property analysis, it's going to start finding like Barry Bonds' house. It's going to be confused about stuff because I thought we were talking about baseball and now we're talking homes. Like it's going to be like a dude and it's going to be freaking confused. So the way you prevent that is you open up a new chat window for each separate task. That's a key kind of point. The mistake most people are making consistently is they're giving it a bundle of tasks as one giant macro task, saying do this big project with all these little things. Break up the micro steps into separate context windows, and you'll get much more powerful results.
Yeah, to put it into the real estate world, Grant, and maybe not the newer agent, yet somebody at your level, you've got a buyer's agent, you've got a listing agent, you've got a transaction coordinator, you've probably got a marketing person, you might have a person who's the runner that takes care of things. Folks, you got the lender, you got the appraiser. You have to treat ChatGPT not as one thread conversation where they're all those jobs. You've got to say, you're the buyer's agent. Then you open another thread and say, okay, you're the transaction coordinator. And then you open another thread. And in ChatGPT, you tell it all. And then you have that conversation in the right place with it. Because that's, as Grant said, what a great analogy, Grant, is it's a one-track mind in each thread until you really start confusing it. And then it just sounds like a husband who has no clue what's going on.
Yeah, what's cool about it is like I can't just walk away from you, Chad, if you're not understanding me, but I can walk away from a context window. If I'm in a chat window and it's not getting what I want, just start again. Just make a new one and start over. Because like clearly, man, you're confused. I'm out of here. You can do that.
All right, I have two questions for you that I want you to answer for us. And I want you to say, question one, I want you to save. Okay, question one is I want you to give us a prompt that everybody should word for word write down because it's going to impact them. So I'm going to give you time to think about a prompt that will help them. And I don't care if it's real estate, if it's just in something else, whatever. Second question, because I want people to understand we're talking AI and we're speaking in ChatGPT. Gabby is separate. Gabby is not ChatGPT. You can't go into ChatGPT and just say, hey, Gabby, right? Just like you can't. Talk about Gabby again for a little while so people understand the power they have right in Brivity.
Hold on. Our Brivity customers don't have Gabby yet. So if you're a Brivity customer,
some do.
On the verge, and we're slowly starting to roll this out to a few Brivity folks. So a few Brivity people do have their hands on it, but we've got a chat bot that's powered by ChatGPT, but it's talking to your leads. Sorry, go ahead.
So, and I'll give this commercial because part of why, like, I'm happy to be here, and I've been a Brivity customer for a long time because it's the company that's made to convert leads for real estate people, like buy real estate people for real estate people, none of the other bells and whistles that you don't need, but super technologically advanced. And so on one hand, it's super cool that Gabby is going to be powered by the real most advanced language models, so it can do crazy high level thinking. But the problem, you think of this conceptually, something like ChatGPT or Gemini, they know everything on planet Earth. Just easy way to understand. They know this big old pie. And we're asking them questions about a very, very, very precise segment here. So if I ask it things, if I just went to general ChatGPT and asked it my real estate questions, I'm going to get some more generalized responses, which means sloppier responses. The magic of something like Gabby is it's trained on a small data set of information, and it's going to use the horsepower of the engine of ChatGPT, but it's going to use a very precise data set to give you much more accurate responses for the real estate profession. That's why it's really powerful. It may seem like it's not as powerful as something like ChatGPT, but it's actually more effective because it is a hyper specialized ISA. That's really what it's designed to do.
I mean, I think that's important too, right, Grant? Like most of the products that we will end up using that are AI related will be based on the engine of these large language models, but they will be augmented to like, you know, they will be defined into a niche or a sliver or something so that we get better results. Like Area Pro is another one like that, where it's like it's got the large language model behind it, but it's augmented with your MLS data, and it's got rails or guidelines on it to really focus it to not be pulling from the entire
100%
of all the right. It's pulling from real estate specific knowledge augmented by your MLS.
For sure, and you can spend an infinite amount of money on additional services. There's a bunch of different kind of bolt-on AI tools, but that's a couple examples of some that are worth the money. Have a hyper-trained ISA built into your CSM, literally no brainer. To have something like Area Pro that has the link into the IDX feeds from the MLS to have true information on sales, not just estimates. Something like ChatGPT will use estimated information like the Zillow estimates and so on, but to have real hard data will produce real results that you can bank on. So there's a couple of those features that if they're like switch on bonus things, you want to add those to your portfolio. You'll get much better results by having these specialists in your corner.
Okay.
A couple of ideas. Like I'm in here, I'm exploring the GPTs I can make in ChatGPT. Yeah. Give me one or two that that you love, that you think would be useful for people that maybe are like super kind of nichey and nobody would have ever thought of it except for Grant Rothberg. Like, give me an idea or two.
Yeah, I love it, Bob. You know that I'm a mad scientist, so I'm always thinking of weird stuff. And that is, you need to just try weird stuff. Like, try weird stuff and then tell us about it. Because I'm going to learn really cool things from like the bizarre extreme idea you had. So here's one we think about. Even then, like think about, wouldn't it be cool if? So even right now, I'm thinking about something like ChatGPT as a personality or as an intelligence. So I've got like this one guy I'm talking to who I've hired. But why couldn't it be a focus group for you or a panel? So like think about the function. So Chad's talking about, I have a social media marketer on my staff. Well, it'd be cool if I had someone who was an expert in like Instagram algorithms. And that's probably different than someone who writes great copy. So maybe I want to have someone who's a copywriter on my staff who's a custom GPT or a Google Gem. Maybe I want to have someone who's an SEO expert and who's an algorithm expert. And then maybe I want someone who's going to be like, a panel of 5 or 6 buyer avatars in my area. So what I could do is I could stack this together and say something like, I'm going to go to Bellingham, Washington, Bob, and I want to do a deep research. And I want to find out who are the most likely buyers in this market using Census Bureau data, using NAR reports, using local MLS reports, whatever. I want to find who are the likely buyers in this area who are $500,000 and up. If I want to pick a certain price segment, and do a research for me and prepare this profile. Then I could go to another window and say, I want you to analyze this and prepare for me 10 avatars of people. Go deep into their hobbies, their family composition, etc., that fit the profile we discovered here from this research packet. So they got these little 10 avatars. Then grab those 10 avatars, go to a different window, and say, I want you to prepare for me instructions for a custom GPT that's going to function as a focus group made up of these people. And what's going to happen is I'm going to feed you information that I'm producing as my real estate team. I want you to give me these pieces of feedback. Does it make you trust me more? Does it make it more likely you're going to hire me? Did you resonate with it? Or did you want to see the next piece from me? Would you tell your friends about it? Whatever. And I could then create this. Now I've got this little custom focus group. So before I go live with my Instagram post, or with my newsletter, or with my client event, I dump it in and say, how do we feel about a bruise and buying event here in conservative Pearland, Texas? And my focus group probably tells me we're a little uncomfortable with alcohol at events. Like, I don't know if I want to work with a brand that does drinking, where that may be totally cool in like New England, but like I can create a focus group based off the avatars of my area from that like demographic data. And by stacking those pieces together, I essentially have this live panel. I can do A/B testing before I do A/B testing. Essentially.
I've created like 15 different custom GPTs, right, for coaching. Yeah. Right. I'm attempting to basically replace myself and say, people, here's Chad in a box, right? And you just talk to the computer and it'll coach you the way Chad would, depending on what your focus is. What I want you to give everybody a prompt. Now, folks, a prompt is how you talk to ChatGPT. For those of you who are giving me scores of like a 3, right? You should not go into ChatGPT and just type in, blah, 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 right? You need prompts. The better the prompt, the better the results. Now, remember, Grant has already taught us different threads, windows, streams, whatever you want to refer to it as, for different conversations. So real estate versus sports versus Bob collecting his shoes or his baseball card collection, right? These should all be different threads so that they're all in a different conversation. Yet, Grant, we know the power is truly in the prompt. So give me a prompt you love, or help our audience write their own prompt by giving them what a prompt should look like when they're structuring them.
Yeah, so here's the good news is to a certain degree, that's changing. As of Thursday of last week when GPT-5 dropped, it is far more forgiving for your inaccuracy or lack of precision with your prompts, for better or worse. So it's got a mode selector built in. When you ask it something or give it some instruction, it's going to reason what it thinks you meant by that. So if you're kind of sloppy, this is the best time ever to just drop stuff in there. Now, I'm a control freak, and so if you're someone that I want a lot more precision with what I'm doing, the prompt still absolutely matters. So here's one that I would use. If you want to start building repeatable stuff, just use something like this. So you'd go in there and say, you are an expert.
That's where you start, folks. Did you hear? First thing you got to do is tell GPT who it is.
Yep. Yeah, I always start with something like, okay, you're an expert in creating custom GPTs. And you've been doing this and I get really deep with it. I'll be like, you've done it for 7 years. You were part of the early development team with OpenAI. So you're very familiar with the architecture behind the scenes. And you've now pivoted and have worked the last 3 years with residential real estate teams with creating custom products for their businesses. And then fill in the blank what you want to do. So what I need you to do is write for me instructions that will help me, write newsletters, create a script practice bot, evaluate opportunities in the market, off-market properties, markets, like whatever you want. Tell it that. It's going to generate for you then a prompt that you probably won't understand. And if you're new to this and you're kind of in that like low to intermediate level of skill, you should read what it wrote you and try to understand the logic behind it. That'll help you just kind of learn the way they think. So then after you get that, ask it again. You just say this is so powerful with GPT-5. Say, make it better. And do that 2 or 3 times, and it will keep doing it. Like it will refine itself and produce higher level products because it's going to tap into its high level thinking brain and make something better. It's like, well, people really like this thing, so I'm going to add this feature as well. I'm going to enhance this. Oh, it'll be faster if I do it like this. So then you take that thing, and what I like to do, so when I get that little final output, then I'll grab that final result, whether it's a list of instructions or whatever, and I'll go to a different one and I'll ask it, how would you improve this? Here's what I was trying to do. How would you improve this? And I'll say, I hired someone who's an expert to produce this thing. What do you think about their work? How would you improve it? And then bam, I got my product.
I'm biased, Grant. Here, I'll give you one of my biases is I think every new agent should join a real estate team. And I think that in 10 years, they're going to be doing real estate teams will be doing 90 or 95% of the business that happens in the United States. I also have a bias towards technology. I really believe that the people that get on this train now are going to survive and thrive in 5 years. And if you just close your eyes to this, you can still have a small little job here in real estate, but the business will move in this direction. If you were to go back, think 2004, 5, 6, look at some of the people that kind of leaned into online, real estate online, or they leaned into YouTube really early, like the Ken Pozaks, the Ben Kinneys. These guys built massive businesses on the backs of these shifts. And I think that this is another really big shift in the way that we use technology. And I mean, dude, I put a lot of money on you having a really big, successful business, the heights of what you want it to be because you're leveraging these tools.
Well, that's totally it. It's self-preservation for me is I believe what you believe. I think of it almost like a Manhattan Project type moment where someone's going to get the bomb. And if I don't get it, I want to be close. I want to be close to it. But someone in my market's going to figure out how to be superpowered to the infinite level. If I could have 100 ISAs on my team right now, wouldn't I sell gobs of houses? If I had the horsepower of 50 director of operations working for me, would that be? But I can do that. The seeds of that are there. So part of the magic for anyone who's listening or thinking about this stuff is you want to learn to look at where the capabilities are going. So see how they're building it and realize I'm dealing with an iPhone 1. it's pretty cool for what it was, but it's nothing compared to what we have now. But the idea to have like haptic feedback and have like a touch screen and all these type of things, they changed the world. When they truly develop, they change everything. So it's a really kind of cool deal. I did analysis on this using AI actually. But like the cell phone concept, this goes back to the Power Glove in the late 80s and 90s. Like your iPhone, the raw technology existed then. But the supporting technologies didn't. The towers and all that type of stuff weren't there. The data processing speeds, all that. So once those extra pieces, once those extra dominoes dropped, instantly now we're at like 98% adoption for smartphones. It's a huge, huge number globally that has a smartphone. I think the same thing is going to be for our AI tools where the superpowers are there, but there's a couple pieces that need to drop into place. And once they do, those who are ready for it are just going to like take over the world. It's going to be amazing.
All right, everybody go get ready for it. Take some of this advice, Grant. If nothing else, just go play around with ChatGPT. Like if you haven't done it, if you've been somebody that Grant was talking about at the very beginning that's like kind of scared of this, or you don't know about it, or you're guys, it's not going away. Like it's not, it's not Cabbage Patch Dolls or whatever. Like it's not a fad. Grant, appreciate you, my friend. There, if you guys want to reach out to Grant, he's Grant at mymegaai.com. You do some webinars and stuff on this too. So you guys reach out to Grant. He can give you info on the next time he's going to do like a training on one of these things.
For sure.
Thanks, Grant.
Appreciate it, guys.
Buddy, appreciate it, man. You have an awesome day. Everybody, we'll see you next week.